I think that was a key for us, the success of our business, was the partnership, because we really didn't have a clue on how to get things started. And the idea was to find somebody to help. And once we made that connection with Fiddleheads and their overwhelming desire to get involved with us and to help, and they're still huge supporters of our business and making sure that everything is going well and supporting us with the coffee. And I think that was another key to the success of the business, because had we not had that support, and they're imparting their knowledge and their experience and their things that work, don't work, and I think that's super important, that part. You're going to start a business, connect with somebody who's done it before, who can help you, because it really was what got us started and has kind of helped maintain us.
The easiest thing is to realize that nobody has all the expertise they need. Nobody. That there are other people that have skills that you don't have, they have experience that you don't have, they have knowledge that you don't have, and to tap into those resources. So if you're looking at, whatever your business, you can talk to other people with similar businesses. You can, and partnerships can grow from that. You can have people come in as guest speakers and learn from their expertise, or perhaps there's collaborations there. When you do your business advisory board, choose people that will mentor the students as they create their business, mentor the students as they prepare for competition. So ways to connect with the community. As you reach out to do some, philanthropic kind of endeavors, volunteering with and collaborating with different organizations in that manner. You just have to cultivate that thought of you are a member of a community, the school community at large, a business community. There are all sorts of resources out there to connect with.
In terms of partnerships, can you talk about some of the kind of either businesses or groups that you work with outside of the school, or groups within the school, or other social groups or classes that you might have worked with to kind of help Cool Beans with the business or participate?
Well, within the school, we've done it the past 2 years, and I'm sure we will this year. There's a Bible club within the school, and every year they host a Staff Appreciation Day where they bring in all types of baked goods. And we provide the coffee and other drinks for them. So it's advisor with a group of students, and the Bible Club group of students mainly run the Appreciation Day. They hand out the coupons for Cool Beans for staff members to redeem, and we make the drinks for them. So it's been really nice working with them, and they make quite a nice donation every year, which they don't have to do, but they do. We've also worked with other organizations that have needed to sell coffee. We have I can't think of the word of it now, a really big coffee brewer. I know there's a better word for it, but it's not coming to me. So I've let groups in the school that have run plays and just want to sell coffee afterwards, I just ask them to make a donation of their choice and supply them with the coffee and the cups and whatever else they may need to sell afterwards. And that was clubs that ran plays after school. And this year I also heard, which I love to partner up with, is at the football games after school. It's getting quite cool here at night since it's October. They would like to sell hot drinks after school as well. So I'd love to partner up with them to see, what we can do to help them out.
We just met this week, too, with the business club. We had approached them last year, and they just weren't ready for a project. And so they invited us in for a meeting on Wednesday, I think it was. And the students talked to them, and the business club, they're considering if they can get enough membership. They're a little struggling at the UW Manitowoc with membership a little bit, but if they can get the membership, they're interested in doing a strategic marketing plan, working with the students on that for this year to try to get a more of a systemized way of getting our promotion of our products out in our community.
We visited bike shops. Our local bike shop gave us considerable discounts on items that we had, and he was the one that referred us to the school up in Nevada City where we took a field trip to see how a young elementary, early middle school conducted a 16-station bike repair and service. It was amazing to see young children actually doing the kinds of repairs you see in regular service shops. My husband happens to be a community cyclist, so he's familiar with the people at the bike stores. So, and I think that's important when students also see businesses. Could lead to a business, and I think that when we went to the school in Nevada City, they can see that that there can be a career in bike repair, whether they have their own bike store or they go and work as a technician.
A couple of the students without disabilities ended up getting jobs at different fiddleheads, and some of our students ended up getting jobs in assisted living, and just because of the connection that we had, it was just a way to get in and develop some jobs for them, and so that was a good outcome too of the business and taking our business out in the community and just making connections and networking, I guess, with other opportunities.
First of all, when we were at this conference in Wisconsin Dells that Kyle was referring to, there was another school in the northern part of the state that was, like he said, was doing the keychains, and I brought the idea back and I shared it with the group, and it looked like a very feasible way for us to start a student business. It's because of the creativity, and there's just a lot of factors. You don't have a lot of waste with the keychains. Then we expanded into looking at police tie-knot blankets. So one of our aides, Kareen, had some experience doing tie-knot blankets, and we went to a local printer here who did embroidery to Towsley's. And we talked to Terry Bush, the president, and he said, well, we could embroider those blankets for you. And the students actually had a meeting with the president there about different ideas for products. We met with a couple of the representatives at Towsley's. And it just depends. Like, for example, we just started 3 new sites. We started First Reformed United Church. They heard about our program because my wife is an organist there. And then one thing led to the other, and the pastor said, well, we'd sell your keychains. And so now Roger, who's the gentleman I was telling you about earlier that's hearing impaired with this interpreter, he handles that site. So he was trained. He went out there with our job coach, Kareen Eichmann, and the interpreter, and met with the pastor out there, Pastor Runge, and developed the process of where to get off at the bus, how to collect the money, et cetera. And so Roger's now doing that independently. Another one of our students, Andrew Nichols, he knew the lady at Book World on Main Street, and so he went and talked to her, and she agreed now to sell our keychains and got our flyers there. So he set that up totally on his own. His mom did go in with him, but he knew the lady, and she called me then. We follow up with the sites, but she called me then, and she said he came in. They bring in their display. They have like a 10-inch high display rack. They bring in their flyers and their case and everything. They set it all up. Ask which ones we could bring in, which designs may sell at that particular site. And another one, a new store was Favorite Things was by the library. The students go to the library, so the group of the students stopped over at the Favorite Things store and just started talking to the manager there, Jody, I think her name is. And Jody liked the idea. It's a thrift store, and so one thing led to the other, and so now we have our keychains and flyers and blankets in that store. So it's kind of just word of mouth and who knows who, and when possible, we encourage the student to go on their own if they feel if we feel they're ready and they want to talk on their own. But then we have no problem sending a staff person, of course, if that's appropriate.
And is there kind of to call it a speech that you guys are prepared to go out and talk to businesses and say, hey, do you want to work with us? Or it's kind of people just kind of go out and talk from their heart about what they're doing with the business?
Well, we do a rehearsal of just, what's the main points you want to cover. And we help them make sure they got the right items, the keychains, the flyers, et cetera, in their case. And so we go through it and say that when you go out there, make sure now you tell them how it works, and you'd be responsible for the site. But, I mean, there's no formal written out speech they have to say. We just kind of cover the points. And then each day we have a meeting in here, and right now it's about 8:10. And then at the meeting we always cover everything as a group, how that site went and what kind of questions you're getting. So, it's constantly reinforced then. Roger wants to say something here.
I just recently wrote a letter and sent my business card to some teachers that I had in elementary school. With some of my order forms.
So this was Roger's way of promoting the business and trying to get some sales. Him and his interpreter were talking, and he thought he could write a letter and send it off to some of his former teachers and that to try to get some sales, so he included some of their order forms.
We also have started serving a couple of our local businesses soup, so we're kind of extending outside of our school walls. Our school board president also works at a credit union that happens to be right behind our school. So we've sort of got them on board, and now every soup there's about 8 or 9 orders that are coming from there. So she comes over and collects it all, and they talk about it, and they send correspondence with kids thanking them and saying it's wonderful. So we're definitely getting out a little that way.
So what was the process in terms of getting these outside groups to say yes to working with you? How did you approach them and present the opportunity?
You need to meet one of the young ladies in my classroom. She will talk to anyone and invite anyone. They're very proud of it. They take a great deal of pride in the business itself. So if an opportunity comes up where we're in the community to talk about Soup on the Fly, they do it. As far as the other thing we did is, we send invitations or soup orders. This is the only place where we use paper because not all of our families have email. We send paper order forms home for their families so their parents can come in and see what they're doing and how the business is run. And I think that helps, too, with some of that education I was talking about of our parents and seeing what their kids are capable of and what they're doing in school, and that those things could be happening at home, too, because it's very independent. Because it looks very independent because typically I'm behind my desk and there's maybe 6 or 7 gen ed kids helping our kids, or they're helping the gen ed kids, or they're working together, and so the parents are able to see that and recognize some level of independence that maybe they weren't aware of before.
Do you think that working with all these partners in the community, do you think it might have changed the way that they think about people who have disabilities or
that's our goal. Our goal with moving getting into the sites, all these sites in the community, is to try to have people look at the students in a different light, or lack of a better word at the moment, but just that because when the students come in there, they're communicating about a product they're making, they're selling, they're in a professional mode, like a sales rep, and I'm hoping it does. We have gotten calls back from individuals saying that your student came in there, he or she was very professional. I really appreciate how he picked up the money. He asked me if I needed any orders. So I'd have to believe that it is having that impression to some degree.